Good afternoon, social media! Wow, crazy shit is going on in the world of sports. I am seriously fucking convinced we are in the upside fucking down. Something ain't right in the world of football, and something damn sure ain't right in the world of basketball. So cue the intro video, because no mercy sports coming at you, baby!
Nobody can stop me now.
Woo! We now have a World Series set for tonight as the fighting Philadelphia Phillies take on the Houston Astros, who fucking swept the Yankees. Before making predictions for the World Series, let's recap the playoffs real quick. After losing the NL East again, the Mets found themselves in the wild card against the Padres. I truly believe that the Padres wouldn't see past the wild card, and the NLDS would be between the Dodgers and Mets. Instead, that didn't happen. The Padres beat the Mets and moved on to the NLDS to face the heavy favorite Dodgers. The Dodgers. A team that's been dominating the NL West since 2013, but never managed to win the World Series. They've come close in multiple years, but couldn't get the job done. It's okay, though, because in 2020, they finally won it all. However, it was on a shortened season of 60 games, but hey, winning is winning, right? Now, the next year, they were favorites to win it all again. Instead, got bounced in the NLCS by the Braves, and this year got bounced by fucking San Diego! A 111 win game season to fucking lose in the NLDS to a team they should have fucking dominated. Moving on, the Padres will move on to the NLCS. But who would they face? Enter the Philadelphia Phillies, a team much like the Padres would be lucky to see past the wild card, as their opponent would be the St. Louis Cardinals, who had 3 players. Granted, one of them is coming back, being Adam Wainwright, but they were doing the last dance. Now, with something like that happening, it only makes sense for the Cardinals to catch fire and win the World Series to send Pujols and Molina on their way. Except that didn't happen. The Phillies went into the series saying, "Eat a dick, old man!" Next up would be a true test for Philly, as they would square off against the reigning, defending World Series champions Atlanta Braves. This series did not go as expected. The Phillies dominated the Braves by outscoring them 24-13, rounding them in a 3-1 series win to move on to the NLCS. I was expecting a great matchup between the Padres and the Phillies. Looking back, if I were to have decided on who would win, I probably would have picked San Diego. Their bullpen looked better, and their lineup looked better as well. Except that really wasn't the case. Had the Padres not mounted a comeback and won 8-5 in Game 2, the Phillies would have swept the Padres to move on to the World Series. In any case, let's talk about the AL side of the playoffs. The Indians, Rays, Blue Jays, and Mariners would get the wild card round started. Cleveland made quick work of Tampa and will move on to face the Yankees in the ALDS. Next, the Mariners found themselves in a bit of trouble against Toronto, being down 8-1. However, the Mariners would come roaring back and complete the sweep, winning 10-9 and move on to the ALDS, facing the Astros. Houston would actually make quick work of the Mariners, but the series between Cleveland and the Yankees was a different story. The Yankees would take Game 1 of the series, but unfortunately Game 2 would be postponed due to weather. Thanks, Mother Nature. Fucking bitch. Anyways, the Indians would walk away with games 2 and 3 and would be up on the Yankees 2-1. New York would tie things up in Game 4, but Game 5 would be postponed due to weather again. Oh, Mother Nature, you cruel, cruel bitch. In any case, the Yankees would complete the comeback and take Game 5 to move on to the ALCS. For the third time in 5 seasons, the ALCS would be between the Yankees and the Astros. In the last 2 meetings, both teams have provided some fantastic baseball. Unfortunately for the Yankees, the Astros would get the wins to move on to the World Series. Except this year would be a different story, right? After one hell of a single season for Judge, the Yankees are sure to go into this series motivated to win, right? Fucking wrong! They got swept! Judge's amazing season all for fucking nothing! To put it plainly, Boone has got to go! Now with the World Series set between Philly and Houston, who looks poised to win it all? I say Philly. And Houston hasn't been the same since 2017. Sure, they've gone back to the promised land, but they've failed to deliver another World Series since getting caught for cheating in 2017. My mistake. 2017. Right now, Philly is riding one hell of a wave of momentum and doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon. The Phillies win the World Series in 6 games. Now, while one sport is on the verge of ending, another sport has started and is now in full effect. That's right, baby! We're playing basketball! We love that basketball! Woo! Basketball season is here and underway. The Warriors set out to defend their title and look to go back-to-back. But which team is set up to dethrone the champs? Let's get things started with the team the Warriors face in the finals, the Celtics. They certainly have the talent to get back to the finals once again, but with them being down a head coach, being Ime Udoka, it could be a rocky road to another finals appearance. See, their dipshit head coach decided to play a stupid game and won a stupid prize by having an intimate relationship with a female Celtics staff member, which goes against the Celtics organization policy, and they suspended him for the entire season. I guess it was a good thing that the Celtics suspended him for a full season and didn't fire him. Had they fired him, Brooklyn would have jumped at the chance to get him like a fat kid on a fucking cupcake. Suspension aside, the Celtics still have a good chance to make another run this year. The Brooklyn Nets. Thought by many, so many, to win multiple championships. Boy, how well those fucking expectations have fucking aged. From being a toenail away from the Eastern Conference Finals to getting fucking swept in the first fucking round last year. They were a fucking circus show last year, and the results spoke for themselves. Oh, but wait. They landed Ben Simmons in a trade with the Philadelphia 76ers. Granted, he's injured, but once he heals up, the Knicks are going to run rampant in the playoffs. This man, let me tell you, the man was about as fragile as a wet paper fucking bag. He had his return for the playoffs, and when the playoffs came around, he was a fucking peacock ghost. Sitting on the sideline, dressed like a fucking idiot. Then had the fucking gall to say the reason he wasn't able to play was because of back problems and mental problems. Now, I get it. Back and mental problems are one thing. But when you're hyping up your return just to sit on the fucking sideline looking like a fucking idiot, you're nothing but a little bitch. Right now, the way the Nets are looking after 5 games, being 1-4, and the way Simmons is playing, the Nets have no shot at competing for a title this year. Okay, let's calm down and talk about some other teams that potentially have a shot at making a run this year. Like the Bucks, for example. 3 games in for Milwaukee, and they're undefeated. Very impressive, guys. Their roster looks great, and assuming they can stay healthy, we could very well see a Bucks versus Warriors finals. Next up, we have the Miami Heat. Sure, they're sitting at 2-4 right now, but they're more than likely going to be one of possibly many teams that are going to be the dark horse and fly under the radar. Another team that could be added to the list is the Chicago Bulls. They have always been that tough as nails, fight to the finish type of team. And with the players they have and a possible MVP candidate being DeMar DeRozan leading the way, and the Bulls can make a serious run this year. Let's move out west. Now, one clear favorite to give Golden State a run for its money is the Phoenix Suns. Sure, the Suns are having issues with their owner because dipshit Robert Sarver thought that he could get away with calling people certain names and doing certain things that made people feel uncomfortable. His punishment, a $10 million fine, and was suspended for 1 year in the NBA and WNBA. Interesting. Hey, Adam Silver, you certainly had no problem banning former Clippers owner Donald Sterling for life back in 2014 when he had a problem with his fucking mistress posting a selfie with Magic Johnson to Instagram, amongst other discriminative things as well. Anyways, we're here to talk about teams that can take out the Warriors, and the Suns have a shot at doing that. The LA Fakers. I would say the Lakers, but since LeBron came to Tinseltown, they have not played like the Lakers we all know. Since 2019, they delivered one fucking championship. And since 2020, they got eliminated in the first round and are currently 0-4 to start off the season. The Fakers are going nowhere if their season continues like this. Let's hear your opinions, though. Comment below who has the best chance to take down the Warriors. Now, the NBA season may have just started, but football season is still going on, and predictions are still going to be made. Kicking things off, we have second-ranked Ohio State taking on 13th-ranked Penn State. Despite a blowout win against Minnesota, Ohio State is ranked second in the nation for a reason. Buckeyes are taking that win, no problem. Up next, we have 7th-ranked TCU versus Take Me Home, West Virginia. Anyways, this game is a guaranteed win for TCU. Here's a game that's sure to be a gunfight as Notre Dame goes up against 16th-ranked Syracuse. To say I was surprised to see Syracuse be undefeated going into their game against NC State is an understatement, especially when they're mostly known for being a basketball school. Sure, they lost to Clemson, which comes as no surprise, but it was a close game, and while I may be a Notre Dame fan, Syracuse is taking home the win. You know, after a 3-0 start, the Sooners would drop 3 straight. They would, however, bounce back and get a win over Kansas, who is surprisingly ranked for the first time since 2009. Now the Sooners take on Iowa State tomorrow. If Oklahoma doesn't get the win, their season could be in jeopardy. Let's take a trip down south as the Florida Gators take on the number 1 ranked team and defending national champions, Georgia! The Bulldogs found their groove again and in the last 2 games scored a combined 97 points, including a 55-0 shutout win against Vanderbilt. I say the trend continues and Georgia gets the win handily. Oregon. They've always been the dark horse of college football and take on California. Oregon gets the win with no problem. Ooh. A battle of ranked teams as number 9 Oklahoma State takes on 22 ranked Kansas State. The Cowboys came off an exciting win against the Longhorns last week, as predicted. Horse fucking down! And they'll get the win against the Wildcats tomorrow. Wow. Wake Forest has cracked the top 10. Pretty surprising if you ask me. But their game against Louisville is going to be an obvious win for the Demon Deacons. Damn, Illinois, look at you guys moving up in the rankings. You were ranked 24th 2 weeks ago, now sitting at 17. I would say this should be a close game between Illinois and Nebraska, but come on. Nebraska is still trying to find its fucking groove. Illinois wins without breaking a sweat. An obvious win for this next game as I'm taking Cincinnati over University of Central Florida. Damn! South Carolina is sitting at 25 and they take on Missouri. This shouldn't be a problem for South Carolina. They'll get the win. Ooh. Another battle of ranked teams as 19 ranked Kentucky versus 3 ranked Tennessee. Tennessee is still riding that momentum after beating Alabama 2 weeks ago. And this game against Kentucky won't be too much of a problem for the Volunteers. Now, this is another obvious win here as the University of Spoiled Children will get the win over Arizona. This is interesting, though. Boise State is sitting at 5-2 and Coastal Carolina is sitting at 6-1. But neither of them is in the top 25 rankings. Well, their wins against Colorado State and Marshall should put them in the rankings tomorrow. Here we go, baby. A battle of Michigan as the 4th-ranked Wolverines take on the Spartans. In the last 10 games against Michigan, Michigan State is 6-4. Unfortunately for the Spartans, tomorrow's game against Michigan, the Wolverines will show why they are ranked 4th in the nation. Go Blue. Go Blue. Now, despite a loss against LSU, 15th-ranked Ole Miss will get the win over A&M. Now, UNC might be ranked 21st, and their game against Pittsburgh will be a gunfight, but that's not going to stop them from getting the win. Finally, we have 12th-ranked UCLA against Stanford, and UCLA wins by a landslide. Let's move on to the NFL, shall we? Oof. The Bucs are off to a 3-5 start after losing to the Ravens on Sunday. We in the upside fucking down. Seriously. The Bucs are 3-5. The Packers lost 3 straight to teams they should have easily beaten. And the list goes on, people. But anyways, Broncos country, let's ride. Shut the fuck up, Russell Wilson. You had us convinced that you were going to make the Broncos contenders this year, but instead, you can't find a fucking open wide receiver. But then again, I'd have trouble finding an open receiver if I was trying to look over 245 fucking million. Now Wilson is benched and the Broncos are averaging 15 points per game as they fly to London and take on Jacksonville. After a tough loss to the Giants, the Jaguars bounce back and get the win over Denver. Something is going on in the NFC South. The Falcons are in first despite being 3-4, and if the Panthers and Saints get the win on Sunday, everyone else is tied for first with a 3-5 record. Except I don't see that happening. Atlanta gets the win over Carolina and improves to 4-4. Some obvious wins for these next 2 games. Dallas is going to get the win over Chicago and Miami over Detroit. After a win over the Saints, Arizona is headed to Minnesota. The Cardinals will drop to 3-5, and Minnesota stays on top of the NFC North. After a much-needed win over the Texans, the Raiders take on the Saints. Sorry, New Orleans. Las Vegas gets the win on Sunday. Ooh, man. A battle of the AFC East as a surprising 5-2 Jets take on the Patriots. New England right now is going through some quarterback controversy. And I say the Jets move on to 6-2 after Sunday. No doubt predictions here as the unbeaten Eagles will stay unbeaten after the win against Pittsburgh. And the Titans get the win over the Texans. Interesting. Matt Ryan is being benched for Sam Ehlinger, who will get the start for the Colts against the Redskins. Washington is coming off a big win against Green Bay last week, and with Ryan being benched, the Redskins get the win, no problem, against the Colts. Now, a battle of surprising teams as the 6-1 Giants take on the 4-3 Seahawks, who hold the lead, surprisingly, in the NFC West. Geno Smith has been playing some back-and-forth football since the season began. But after the last 4 games for the Giants, they've been playing some impressive football. Big Blue gets the win and moves on to 7-1. I would say Sunday night's game between the Packers and the Bills would be a good one, but that would be some bullshit. As I said, the Packers have dropped 3 games against teams they should have easily fucking beaten. And after Sunday night, they're going to be in the hot seat when they lose to Buffalo. For the Monday night game, we have the Bengals going up against Cleveland. Cincinnati will move to 5-3 and be tied with Baltimore in the AFC North. Man, we're clearly in the upside down for football this season. And right now, it looks as though we're also in the upside down for the NBA season as well. But basketball is still in the beginning phase, so only time will tell who the contenders will be and who the pretenders will be as the season progresses. For now, hope everyone has a fun, safe weekend and enjoys the games that are upon us. Y'all stay spooky. Until next time, peace out.